Sounds of the rude world heard in the day, led by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dream, my queen of my song, list while I woo thee with soft melody. Gone are the cares of life's busy throng. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. Beautiful dreamer, awake unto me. The weather, which caused some technical difficulties, but we will be running for an hour. So if you've been watching the first, and it's pouring down, by the way, so you may hear some other noise. There was lightning, thunder, all that. So you may hear some odd noises during the show, like that. So we've been wanting spirits to come. So tonight, with our guest, who probably brought a bunch of them, and with the weather and all that, who knows what's going to happen. I think we're going to have an exciting show, and definitely an interesting show. So if you've been watching the show, we are on our 8th episode tonight. And, you know, we're in season 1, but we're on the 8th episode. If you want to watch the first 7 episodes, go to YouTube and go to the channel Stairway East. And that's Stairway space East. It's not all one word. There's a space in there. So our show is filmed live, and then we're streamed as well. So you're watching us, we're live. Who knows? Keep your eyes peeled, because we're really hoping for some spirits to come walking by or do things. So as you know, if you've been watching the show, the studio's haunted. We've had reports of paranormal activity, and we're also very close to Manassas National Battlefield Park, where there were 2 major battles during the Civil War and lots of casualties. So as you just were told, I'm Suzanne Sorrell. I'm the owner of Evermore Paranormal, and I'm your host of the show. And the person that introduced me is my husband, Jim Sorrell. He's the announcer and the Ghost Bro. The Ghost Bro is, he's supposed to be monitoring some equipment over there, and we're waiting for some activity. So far, during the previous 7 episodes, very little activity on camera. We have had stuff happen before and after the show and on other days. Also, over to my left is Kat, my best friend of 13 years. She's my sidekick, not only here, but in life. We're always out doing things together. And she's going to throw in a question or comment here and there. Also tonight, as Jim mentioned, we have Mary Moore joining us. She's a Evermore Paranormal team member. Wave hi, Mary. You're on camera. There you go. She is an Evermore Paranormal team member. She's been on our team for about a year. We're very lucky to have her. And she's going to be coming on regularly, filling the seat next to Jim. Tonight, she's going to be leading our discussion at the end of the show about the Ghostbusters movie. We're just going to have a quick review of the movie. Most of us here, almost all of us on stage tonight, there's 2 or 5 of us, 4 of us have seen the movie, and 1 is not planning to see the movie. So we could have a heated discussion later. So I also, as usual, I want to shout out to Stairway East Rehearsal Studio. That's where we are at. If you need a video done, anything, if you need to rehearse, you need a studio, they can do anything. I've been working with them for 2 or more years now on a whole bunch of projects, not even here for the show, but at the other location as well. And I highly recommend them. So we got in the back, we got the director, Mike. We got Pat, who is the audio engineer. Lucille, who you've met a bunch of times. She's been our guest, but she's also our, I'm trying to think of what it's called. I'm going blank right now. She does everything else. Stage manager, that's it. Why I would not remember that. Because she does the lights, she does props, she does everything else. And then Jazz, who I wish she would step in front of the camera one day. No, she won't step in front of the camera. Jazz runs the 4 cameras that we're sitting in front of tonight. So she's making sure we all are in focus and that kind of thing. So, without further ado, we have one guest tonight instead of a whole bunch. And before I introduce you, I just want to say one other thing. Last week's show, if you go to episode 7, about the 35 or 36 minute mark, you will see the haunted toy, the haunted doll that Carissa Fleck brought, move. And we then picked it up, and Jen, who was sitting next to me, Jen Anderson from Live Paranormal, she was sitting next to me and held the doll, and she told it to be quiet, and it said night night, and it never talked again. I've talked with Carissa. Carissa's on tour right now, and she's down in Florida with April, and maybe she might be in Georgia right now. I've lost track. They're all over the place. But anyway, she said the doll has not spoken since that period. So now I want to jump over to our guest for tonight, our one and only guest, and that is Kate Gamage. Kate, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
Like, I haven't met you before. No, Katie and I call her Katie, so it's hard for me to call her Kate. Actually, I'm acting like I didn't meet her before. Actually, Katie and I met. You remember how we met?
We met at Feminology.
Oh, yeah, we met. How did we not? Okay, officially, we met for the first time. Basically, Katie was my first Facebook friend back in
2010.
And my daughter-in-law wanted me to sign up for Facebook so that I could get pictures of the grandkids. And Katie was my first friend, and we've been friends ever since. And then, yes, Katie was being technical. The first time we finally met was maybe, 2 years later at Phenomenology. And so, Katie, you wear a lot of hats, so to speak. You do a whole bunch of different things. And so we're going to talk about all the things that you do tonight, and you all are welcome to throw in some questions, comments. We'll start out with one of the things you do is you're a Civil War reenactor and a living historian. Can you tell me, the difference? Is there a difference? I didn't realize there was a difference.
It's almost the same exact thing, but a Civil War reenactor, we just do the Civil War. A living historian, we'd go into different time periods. The only other time period I do is the 18th century, which is the 1700s.
Okay, that's and cool. Do you have to dress do you wear the authentic clothing?
Yes, I do. And it can take at least 20 minutes to get into an 18th century outfit. An hour to get into a Civil War outfit.
I know, I've heard that I think it's the Civil War dresses and stuff, they wore 7 layers or more.
8 layers and 12 and 12 in the winter.
My goodness. Oh, 12 in the winter. Only 4 more. Okay, still, that's a lot of layers.
Because you double up on petticoats and all your winter gear in the winter.
So where do you do the Civil War reenacting and the living historian?
Living historians all over. I do work for the National Park Service. I work at Independence Hall. From time to time, we do have living historians come and do the reading of the Declaration of Independence. And then for the Civil War, I do it in Gettysburg only.
Only Gettysburg. And is that only in July?
It's in July, and then we come back for Remembrance Weekend in November.
So twice a year. And I've seen where you've actually put the outfit on and have worn it on the way. So that has to be uncomfortable.
Usually it's not.
No?
After doing it for so many years, it's you get used to it.
Do you dress up as yourself or
I dress up
as a character?
I dress up as one of my past lives, and she wasn't really alive during the Civil War. She died way before then. Stonewall Jackson's first wife.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that later. Yeah, cool. That's cool. Are you going down to?
I've already been to Lexington before.
Okay, yeah, I remember you going. So one of the other things that's really intriguing, and I think one of the things that we've been most connected on is you being a psychic. And I had you at one of my events, and So I just want to know about how old were you when you realized you were psychic?
I saw my first ghost at 10 years old. I've been told by other readers that I could see things at 7 years old. I know I would freak out in certain locations when I was very young. But a lot of it was due to the past lives, like just those triggering up and stuff.
So how does your, psychics, there's a spectrum of psychics. It just seems like they all have different abilities. What are your abilities and how do they work? How do you know things are coming around?
I can see, sometimes I can sense, and I am a medium. I do talk to the dead. I do a mediumship.
Okay.
From time to, and I can hear telepathically too. Some psychics have the ability to actually smell, and I've had maybe 1 or 2 incidences where I've been able to smell.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's
It's
probably a good thing that you don't smell
it's-
it because
it's
it's
a
like rotting flesh smell and that kind of
it's-
thing.
It's nasty.
Yeah,
It smells like rotting
Death.
meat.
exactly. I haven't smelled that and I don't want to. So, anybody have any questions about her being a psychic? I'm just, do you know this place is haunted? What are you picking up? I know we've been talking before the show, but are you picking up any particular people or anything tonight? You're not picking up anything paranormal?
I know earlier when I had the eye obelisk on, there were things going off, but yeah, they're very quiet right now.
They're very quiet.
Besides for that noise we had earlier.
Oh, over there, do you think that was
Yes,
them?
that was something.
Yeah, we get the noises over near Jim in front of him, and it is like a tap. One night we actually got a tap over here. It was just a tap, and we were so excited because we thought, finally, we have some communication. We've had a whole show where we talk about things that happen here, and recently someone I'm not going to get into details because it's so fresh, but someone recently passed away in the vicinity, and on the property, shall I say? So. It's too soon to talk about that for the sensitivity of the family and that kind of thing. We won't bring it up. We won't go any further than that, but we're wondering if we start sensing that as well.
He is here.
He's here right now? Okay. And we also, like I said, the battlefield is very close. You said you were at the battlefield today?
I always come because that's where Stonewall was in one of the battles. So I always step foot on the battlefield. Yes, and this whole area is active because people don't realize that, yes, there might be modern buildings here, but you got to think it was a battlefield too. Like, you got people buried in all the random spots.
Everywhere. So let's talk about when you were on the show When Ghosts Attack. I'm just curious. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
It was very interesting the day that I had to film that. It was about 110 degrees in Eastern State Penitentiary in the middle of August. It at least took more than an hour because every 15 minutes we had to stop for planes, traffic noise. They're building the haunted house, so we had to. It's every 15 minutes. And then in the midst of stopping for one of the 15 minutes just to take a break, actually, the guy decided to do 20 minutes. We had a spirit decide to show themselves.
Oh, really?
Because the producer tried to scare. We're all stopped. We're all calm. We're all trying to be just relaxing, like putting our guard down and stuff. And he decides to spook us, the producer. So as like a joke. Well, within seconds of spooking us, one of the camera lights that's behind me decides to fall straight down.
Oh,
And it should have not because it was like completely locked. And I said, you do know that was the spirit. And you do realize that I've been here so many times. I have buddies in here.
Was it a male or a female?
We don't have any females in Eastern State Penitentiary. We have males.
Okay.
No female spirits, in
No
other
female
words.
spirits.
Because did they have any female inmates?
They had some
at
females
any
that were
time?
locked up for about a month, and then they moved them to their own prison.
So the episode that you were on, it was season 1, the finale. It was called.
It was called The Beast from Beyond. I was the last person in the episode.
So you
And
were in the
they-
finale then.
They actually,
Final.
they actually cut it down too because they at least filmed me for at least an hour and a half. And like the other people in our episode, they have like the the shots where they pan and stuff to them, like showing them like moving around and stuff. They did that with me, but they had to cut it down because I was the last person for the episode.
I see.
But yeah, I had actually like spent an hour afterwards in the middle of the hot prison, having to stand there and take photos. And then in one of the spots is in one of the most haunted cell blocks. They put us up to the 3rd floor, and they're like, "Are you sensing anything?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm trying not to be nervous because in the 3rd floor, the prisoners were, the actual guards were pushed to their death because the
Right.
cell block was so close to the edge."
Yeah, I've seen some. I haven't been to Easter State Pen, but I've seen a lot of episodes where people are in the penitentiary. Is it penitentiary? I was trying to say it. I said it wrong. I do not want to say library wrong. Library with an R. You know what I'm commenting on, right?
John Gotti was there, right?
No, Al Capone was
Al Capone,
for for 8 months.
Yeah. So there's a cell there.
There's a cell, and it's not really Al Capone's cell.
No.
It is a cell that was where they would have put him, but it's not his actual cell. And they've set it up to what he was allowed, because he was not a normal prisoner. They allowed him to have carpets, furniture. They treated him like a royalty because they didn't know what he would do on the outskirts. And what they did is they tricked the people. They told him that he was leaving on March 17th. Well, he left 2 days ahead of time. And the reason they did that is because they didn't want any of his enemies to kill him on that day. So they did it 2 days beforehand, thinking that he's going to come out, and they don't realize he's already gone. Like the guards did it on purpose to leave him 2 days early.
Interesting.
And that's not the only one that was there. If you hear about the 3 horsemen that were through Long Island, they were locked up there. They're very famous criminals.
So Katie, have you ever seen pictures of that cell? They got it all.
No, but
Fancy
in
looking.
that new, well, it's not new anymore. It's a museum in DC. It's the criminal justice one. I can't remember what it's
The
called.
Spy Museum? Not the Spy Museum.
No, it's the other one.
Okay.
There's another one that's more police oriented,
Okay.
but they have the Bonnie and Clyde car, and then they have that. I mean, they have a lot of stuff, but they have a cell of what it looks like.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Cool. So Katie, what when you were on the show When Ghosts Attack, the premise is you were attacked by a ghost. So I remember I was contacted initially. I don't know if you remember how you ended up getting on the show. They contacted me, thought, do you know anybody that's been attacked by a ghost? And I submitted a story, and Katie Lynn submitted a story, and about 5 other people. Katie Lynn got chosen. So Katie Lynn, can you briefly tell us how you were attacked by a ghost there at Eastern State Pen?
I had worked for Eastern State Penitentiary. I worked at Terror Behind the Walls. And one night that it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, we were leaving this thing. And I finally said, as a psychic, I said, "I'm done. Don't bother me for the night." And there was one person in the bathroom. Our other, we have an EMT on staff, and then we have cops. Then we actually have a security force. They're outside, and they know this place is haunted because they've seen things. And they, all of a sudden, I'm walking in the cell block, and I get shoved and pushed, and I actually got shoved and I fell too, and I actually scuffed the concrete so hard that you could see the marks in the concrete, and I was wearing cowboy boots, like that's how hard of a push it was. And right afterwards, I had seen the spirit that had actually pushed me, and he was, let's just say, I never want to see him ever again.
Wow. Now that night, but you continued to work there, or were you working there at the time, right? For Terror Behind the
Yes.
Walls? And you did work there for a couple seasons, right?
2 seasons.
2 seasons. And when you were there doing that tell people what Terror Behind the Walls is at Eastern State Pen.
Terror Behind the Walls is a very famous haunted house. We are #1 literally in the world. We have we used to be #1 in the United States. Now we're #1 in the world.
Wow.
We are very well known. We've been around for a long time. We are an actual haunted house and a haunted prison. Most people like haunted houses, they'll build like a hayride in the middle of like a field in the middle of nowhere. We actually have a real prison to be built around. We have a lot of celebrities come through. One year we had the Saudi royal family come through.
Wow.
We've had Tobey Maguire come through. And a lot of them come through without their bodyguards. Like they just come through with a friend and they walk through. We've had a lot of the Eagles players come through. I've
Because it's what, in Philly or right near?
because it's in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
We've had some. Who else did we have? We had something. Cody Simpson come through. They had a contest with like all like these 50 fans of like his. He's like the Justin Bieber of like Australia.
I see. So Katie, would you, now that you've been on a reality show and you've been on, you know, a paranormal reality show, would you do it again?
No, it's a lot of hard work.
Did you hear that, people? No.
And you don't get paid that much either.
Yes. Okay, I don't. You don't need to say how much, but I had a recent experience with being up for a show like that, and I was told they were going to use my location, zero money. They're going to use me and other people on the show, zero money. So just realize, and then the documents that you have to sign, the releases, the release from my property, the release from my image and all that, you pretty much sign away they could do whatever they want. So just realize that, and realize that even if you do get paid, it's literally a nice dinner out or something. It's really a few $100, maybe 500 at most, right?
Sometimes they can pay $700, but it depends on the thing. They pay you. How they figure out their pay is via the SAG rate, and SAG rate is $100 an hour, and you can only work 8 hours on the SAG rate. So that's how they figure out to pay these little jobs and stuff.
Oh, I see. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, after thinking that I was interested in using my property on one of these shows because it's haunted, getting close to it, signing all the releases and so on, and then I thought, I don't think I really want to do that. Because I'm also thinking, once my property is labeled haunted, am I going to be able to sell it?
No.
And I'm going to be able to rent it to anybody? And I need to do that. So I'm kind of glad that it fell through. So Katie, your next hat that you wear is being a makeup artist. Now, how long have you been a makeup artist? Like horror makeup, right? And that kind of thing?
I've been doing horror makeup on myself since I was 17 years old. In actual being a makeup artist and own my own company, it's been about 4 years.
And your company's name is?
Makeup by Kate.
Okay, and we do have your, at the end, we do have the website to contact you. Now, where did you, obviously you're self-trained, but you also went for some professional training too, or mentored with somebody? I say interned with somebody.
I did the Dick Smith makeup school. And even though Dick Smith is no longer with us, he passed away, they still run his school, and how his school works is that it's all self-taught. It's almost like an internship. You're self-taught. You do your work, and then you send it off to his group of people that actually work in Hollywood. They critique it, and that's how you pass the course. When you get to the advanced course, which is very hard to get into, I mean, very hard. You're very lucky if you can get in the advanced course. That's when you can get like Hollywood internships. The first guy that started the advanced course, and before Dick Smith even decided to do an advanced course, the guy about 6 months after finishing the job, he got a job on The Hobbit without ever working in the industry.
Oh, wow. So Katie, do you have a specialty? Like scars, blood, what? I know, I've seen a lot of your pictures where you used to do the makeup and put them up on Facebook with like your half face gone and all that gory stuff.
I'm very good at almost everything in the horror makeup.
Did you work on some projects or movies or do anybody famous or somewhat famous, somebody we'd recognize in the paranormal field?
No one in the paranormal field. I did do a little student film that was supposed to be in some big film festival, but I never got word if it ever got into a big film festival.
So you like doing that? Is that way up at the top of the things you like to do? Even more than the psychic readings and... I
do psychic readings. I haven't really been to any paranormal conferences in a while. But yeah, most of the makeup is what I do.
So when I met you, Katie, I think you already were an ordained minister when I first met you. I'm curious why did you become an ordained minister, and is there a reason behind that, or?
The reason is a lot of us in this field, a lot of people would ask me to do house blessings. They want certain things done, and the only way to do a house blessing, or I can't do an exorcism, and I never will. I'm not a priest. It was just for that purpose. Is actually a lot of us psychics are ordained.
I've noticed that.
But
yeah.
it's for doing house blessing purposes, because we can't do house blessings without being some type of minister.
So what's the difference between a priest and an ordained?
There is an ordained. You go through a course. Almost all priests and stuff, they're all ordained. It's just most of them. An ordained minister is like a tiny little course, and you when you take the course, you pass it, you get your license. Oh yeah, and then you can marry people. You can do funerals with an ordained minister, just like a priest. But a priest has just been to school, and most ministers have, like most actual big ministers, have been to like colleges and stuff.
Okay,
So,
cool.
did you have another question?
No, that was it.
Did you have any questions over there about anything we've covered? Did you, Jim?
Do you use it for protection for yourself? Does it help you in any way there?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to, especially as a psychic, when there's so many frauds out that they want to know, are you trained in anything? Because there is a lot of frauds out there, and I've dealt with some of those fraud psychics.
Oh, yeah. There are more. It seems like everybody I meet nowadays
Has some
is
psychic ability.
a psychic, and I'm not going to say the name, but I just found out like today or yesterday that somebody I know that I've known for a long time is now stating that they're a psychic, and that was a shock. Did you have any questions over there about anything we've covered?
No.
Well, I'm going to come back to the book because I want to spend more time on the book and the past lives. Let me just cover a couple other things. Well, I also wanted to ask, have you ever officiated a wedding?
No.
Are you able to do that with this?
Yes, we can officiate a wedding, but no, I have not.
Okay, well, it's always a first, right? And also when I met you, you had a group called Paranormal Chases United. Was it a group or it's just you, right?
It was me and another friend, but I haven't really done anything with it in a while. My website for that's like actually been like,
Okay.
it's like closed.
Do you take, or did you take cases back then?
Yes, back then we did, but since then it's just been closed because I haven't been really in the paranormal field a lot.
Exactly. I know you've taken a break from that, doing the makeup and other things. Let's see. So you brought a couple, before we get into the book, I kind of wanted to save that so we could just talk and we don't have to cut it off. So we're going to talk about that last, but you brought a couple haunted objects with you tonight, or you brought a couple tintypes actually. How, you want to maybe show them to the camera? I don't know if you probably won't be able to get a close-up, maybe just hold it up to the... So you brought these two tintypes. You want to tell the story behind that, and are they haunted?
No.
They're not haunted, but
he's around, but they're not on it.
And so what is the story behind these two pictures that you're holding up, or tintypes?
It's the same guy. One I bought 2 years beforehand in Virginia. The one I bought last year in Pennsylvania. And it's very interesting to find out that you found the same exact person 3 years apart.
Yeah, that is strange, unusual, very rare,
Did
if
he,
at all possible. Statistically, the probability of that.
did he ever say that how he died?
I really don't know. When I first got the actual picture of the soldier, I was very drawn to it. I said I must have this tintype. Like out of all the soldiers that are in this cabin, I must have that one. And let's just say I paid a lot of money for it because tintypes are very expensive. I've never actually ever figured out why he wanted to come home, but I've had other psychics that say I actually have a friend that's very, very psychic. She does readings for me sometimes. She actually, the reason she gets drawn to a lot of these things is because the spirits, they are attached, their energy is there, and they want to be brought home. They don't want to be left in the antique shops. And I have been in antique shops, and I know when things are haunted because I keep getting drawn back to that certain area, and I'm like, why am I getting drawn to that certain area? And then I'm like, oh, no wonder.
Well, you saw one of my dolls you said was haunted, and before I could get in the store to grab it, somebody bought it. So, did you get into the store today? Did she come by? Kat, were you there?
No.
Oh, you did go by today,
I did go
though?
by though.
Anything in my booth haunted?
No.
Damn. I want something to be haunted. I thought you were there today, Kat.
No, I was working my other job.
Oh, okay. I told her you were there. That's probably why she went by. So, also, over the years, we're talking and, on Facebook and messaging and so on, and your house is haunted. Can you tell me what the kind of things that you have to deal with, like on a daily basis with the spirits and the activity?
We had a little girl. She actually she might be here right now. I keep hearing her name. She
What's her name then?
Barbara.
Barbara.
She is the daughter of the family that once lived there. Well, what happened is one day she rode her tricycle into the river and she died. So the mother for years was devastated. My bedroom is actually her mother's and it was her bedroom. The first night I get into that bedroom, I have my TV on. I'm nowhere near the remote control. It's up on the TV. All of a sudden the volume goes up to like over 100. It goes back down. And I said, "Oh, I wonder who's visiting." And we've seen her. I had one of my brother's ex-girlfriends saw her too. She's not the only one that haunts there because we live in a very active historical area. Our land had Civil War. We have a Union training camp in the town over from us, and we have Revolutionary War soldiers. Plus, we had pirates crash on the river. So from time to time, we get this French pirate-like thing coming through on my ghost equipment.
Wow. Cool.
We bring antiques in. Antiques do attract energy. My mom decides she loves antique mirrors, and I said, "You do know that they used mirrors in seances back then." So I'm like, "Yes, you're bringing portals in," and we have 2 of them in the staircase, and staircases are very well known to be portals. Bathrooms are too. For some reason, ghosts love the bathroom. And the first,
Yes.
I was in my bedroom one night, and all of a sudden I see and where my bathroom is used to be an upper part of the garage. And then we built it, and then we combined and built a huge kitchen and built an upstairs living room in the bathroom. All of a sudden, I see a spirit walk out from what would have been a cabin in this like upper garage part towards the other way. And I've never ever seen him again. That scared me half to death because it's like midnight and I'm seeing this like white figure like go across the wall. And then one time was
I talking to you at the time? That sounds like something that happened.
I don't think
possibly.
I don't think you were. I've been in the tub, and I've heard a man whistle.
That's happened to me recently.
And-
Did you? Oh, it happened to me like a couple months ago.
And I'm in the tub, and I'm like, no one's in the house. And I'm like, I know no one's in the house because no one's come home. My brothers are off at school and stuff. And all of a sudden, I hear this man whistling, and I'm like, you're not one of my normal ghosts. My normal ghosts know my rules to get out of the tub when I'm getting changed or going to the bed. Or like they know the rules. And I was like, oh, lovely. I said, first of all, you're being a pervert. Get out.
Exactly. It is really creepy when that happened to me like 2 months ago. Same thing.
We've heard
Exactly.
We've heard what sounds like soldiers or things running up the staircase in our house. And we'd be the only one in the house, and all of a sudden we hear this kaboom, like thinking someone broke in because they're like stomping down the staircase. And I go to open the door, and one time I said, "Knock it off," and like thinking it's like one of my brothers being it. And I open the door, and no one's there. And I'm like, okay. I've heard about 3 weeks ago, I was downstairs in my dad's TV room because my brother was sleeping up on the couch upstairs, so I decided to watch TV downstairs. All of a sudden, I hear, no one's in my bedroom, everyone's asleep. I hear footsteps in my bedroom, and we have very thin floors because we're in a 1930s house. And I said, "Oh, I wonder who's walking around my bedroom right now."
Wow.
And my mom's heard it before too.
Wow. So you probably don't get too many nights to get a good night's sleep.
Especially on stormy nights.
Right.
I usually don't sleep. I'm usually like up till 7 a.m. in the morning.
So Katie, I saved the most exciting stuff, I think, and everything's exciting, but to talk about your book and your past lives. You want to show the book to the camera so we can get a good shot of your book, and what is it called, and where can it be purchased?
I gotta remember the name.
Okay, you want me to say?
Yeah.
Okay, her book's called My Reincarnation
forget that.
Story as Marilyn Monroe. Now, when did that, by Kate Gamage? So Kate, and I call her Katie, so Katie Lynn, actually. But the more grown-up Kate, I guess. I've known her for a while. But Katie, when did that book come out? When did you publish it?
When did I publish this? It's been a while. It should be in here.
A couple years ago, I think. At least it came out in 2014, I think.
This one, because I had a paperback.
Okay.
This one's 2014.
Okay. And where can somebody get a copy of that?
It can be purchased on Amazon.com and it can be purchased on BarnesandNobles.com. You can't buy it in the store, but you can purchase it online.
Oh, you can? Okay, I'll have to look it up. I didn't know. I thought it was just you had copies of it, and I didn't know we could get
And
it at Amazon.
I do have copies, and I do sell them through my website too.
And how much are they?
On the website, it's $20, but
And that's a hard cover, though.
on Barnes and Nobles, and if I'm not mistaken, Amazon, I think it's gone up to 22 because I can't rig the actual pricing. It depends on what it sells in the stores.
Oh, really? That's how, I don't know how it works, so.
So what do you say in your book about yourself
I go from what happened in my childhood to what I know from my past life.
Yeah, so before we get into that, you know that you've had 3 past lives, correct?
3 known past lives, but
Known.
I've been told that I have more, but I just have never ever tuned into that.
Well, tell us the 3, I know, and then we'll talk about the Marilyn Monroe one. Tell about the other 2 first.
My other well-known one that I've known for a long time I was Stonewall Jackson's first wife, which some people don't know that he was married twice. And it gets me a little irritated when I go into the stores and they don't talk about her. And they don't realize that she died in childbirth with his first wife. Her name is Eleanor Junkin Jackson. She's actually buried right behind his original gravesite in Lexington. And people come there and they said, "Oh my God, she's the first," and it actually says on the grave that she's his first wife.
So people are shocked. So.
People aren't shocked that he has a first wife because they only talk about Mary Ann and the other daughter, Julie.
And how about you were someone on the Titanic?
Yes, I've known since I was a little kid. I used to get freak out panics near water and in inclines and in boats. I could never get on a boat as a kid. Inclines especially, I would panic. And drainage holes for some reason down the inclines. And I've had every year on the anniversary of the Titanic, I wake up every hour the boat's going down.
Wow.
And I do know that I was a 3rd-class passenger. I had all my children with me, and that I was coming to visit to move to Chicago. Because he was in Chicago, the husband.
So that happens on the anniversary every year. Has anyone else ever told you that, or
Yeah, I've had
other things happen?
Valerie Morrison has picked up on it. She's made mentions, and I said, "Well, I was on the Titanic. That's what you're picking up on."
So you drowned, in other words, and do you go
Never
through that
lived.
feeling? Like,
For a long time I had Mom for years wondered why I had an obsession with the Titanic. Like, I needed to go to every museum. I needed to have every book. My science project was about the sinking of the Titanic. And it was just, and then eventually going to one of the museums, which is actually in Branson, I saw myself on the wall. And Mom went to look, and Mom took a double look. She's like, "Oh my God, like, you really do. That really is you.
The person looked like you, or you look like the person. Wow. And so,
That's
how did
scary.
you? So that's how you realized that you had a past life on the Titanic. Then also Stonewall Jackson's first wife. How did you realize that?
When I first came here, for a long time I just kept having this feeling, even as a kid too, and even before I came here, that I needed to go to Lexington, Virginia. That I had to just keep going to Lexington, Virginia. And I eventually made it there. And this is not a coincidence, the only spot, some people think it's like a freak coincidence, the only spot that was available for me to park to get to the cemetery was in front of the original church that he was a minister at, that my father from that life was a minister at. And then I walk into the cemetery and I walk right to the original grave without ever being there.
Wow.
And I eventually went to the Lexington house, and she says, "You have to be here because people don't know where that family plot is."
So the book that you wrote was about your reincarnation as Marilyn Monroe. Do you plan to write, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, do you plan to write more books, like about these other stories that your past lives?
My Stonewall Jackson one, I do have a book on that.
You do?
It is sold on Lulu.com.
I didn't know that.
It's just a very brief little tiny paperback book. This book, it took about 2 years to write, on the one of Marilyn Monroe. And yes, there have been other people that have come through and tried to say that they were her, but there is one in particular that I do not like to mention. She did it for money. Her and her
We're talking about Marilyn Monroe now?
Yes.
Okay.
Her and her psychiatrist, the other woman that tried to say she was her, did it for major money. And now the girl's gone off the grid and is a psycho lunatic.
Wow. So tell me all about this story, about from the beginning of, what's your book? What does it cover?
My book covers it does go into the beginning of my childhood and what I went through in childhood, and a lot of it was due to the passive, so that's why I bring it up. And then it starts talking about what I know about it, all the details that I know about the life, even down to who was at the funeral, what the color of the casket was, everything.
Have you been able to verify any of that?
Yes, I have. Okay. After writing it, I have looked up the articles, and I'm saying exactly what.
Wow, that's interesting. Do you all have any questions about this Marilyn Monroe story or any other questions? Kat?
And I have had a past life regression done after writing the book.
Yeah.
And this came through during the past life regression.
So did Marilyn Monroe really?
No, she did not kill herself.
Good question. I was just getting ready to ask that. She didn't kill herself.
No.
So what do you
murdered,
know?
right?
I mean, I know we have to get the book to find out, right?
I won't mention most of it, but yes, I do know who killed her. I know exactly.
Somebody killed her.
I know exactly. I won't mention the family was very prominent.
Well, then we probably know. Is it a conspiracy kind of thing?
That's what they say. It's a conspiracy, but it really did happen. I do have a birthmark of exactly how the injection was happening. And I have met him in this lifetime. And let's just say...
You've met the murderer.
Met the murderer.
In this lifetime?
Mm-hmm. And I say who it is. He is very well known in the paranormal field.
Wow, I gotta do we read about that in the book, my dear? Will we find
no,
out? Because I'll buy the book right now. I want to know.
I don't mention him in the book, but I do mention the murder part in the book. For a long time I didn't want to mention it.
You're right.
And then because of who's around me from that lifetime, they made me write it.
Okay.
They said
so. I'm a little confused. Okay, first of all, everybody thinks she committed suicide. She didn't. She was murdered. She was murdered by someone that is still living? Is that what you're saying?
No. He is reincarnated now.
He is reincarnated, and it's somebody that's well known in the paranormal.
Well known.
And that they're only like there's like maybe 5 or 10 top people. Okay. Does that person
knows who he was too?
They know who he was. Okay.
They do know, and they do know that that's the reason I do not longer talk to them, and that I have stepped away.
Oh, okay. Now I know who it is then, right? Okay. Which we can't say. I know who it is because we've talked. But wow. Any more details you can tell us about Marilyn? What is she?
What kind of things did she like?
I guess Kat's gonna ask you what kind of things did she like?
There were.
Well, a wife, right? Yeah.
What do you want to know about?
I don't know. Did she like buying a movie star? Did she?
No. Hollywood, old Hollywood is a very. Let's just say it's just like modern day Hollywood. There's a lot of corruption behind the scenes. There's a lot of
same in the paranormal field as well.
There was a lot of things that went on, a lot of articles that got written about certain things. Like they tried to say she was a lesbian, she was not a lesbian, because there were other actresses that were lesbians that never came forward that tried to say that they wanted to sleep with her. There was a lot of BS that went on, even in the beginning too.
you've really enticed us into buying the book. I may have to go, since you only brought that copy, I may have to go on Amazon and get me a copy of that. So I'm really interested. It must be interesting to have these past lives, as well as being psychic and, how do you keep it all straight? That's what
This life I've closed off somewhat. Because you have to with certain things. Like once you start going to the certain grave sites, the only grave I have to go to is Frank Sinatra's eventually. I gotta drop him off. He likes to follow around. I'm hearing him sing right now.
Uh-oh. Well, Katie, we have a little bit that we're going to do a little segment on the Ghostbusters movie, but I want to say that you will be at the next. You're appearing next at Monster Mania?
Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's one of the top East Coast horror conventions.
And that's August 12th through the 14th?
Yes.
And you're going to be doing psychic readings,
I will
correct?
be doing psychic readings, and I'll also be doing makeup.
Okay, and I have your contact information. I think if anyone wants to contact you about anything you've talked about today, buy your book, readings, etc., hire you to do makeup, it's www.makeupbykate8.com. Yep. So thank you, Katie, for coming here all the way from New Jersey on this rainy, stormy day. And thank you for also hanging around 20 minutes. We were waiting to get on air. There was some kind of issue, probably because of the storm. So with that, you're welcome to stay. We wanted to do a little bit last week about the Ghostbuster movie. Most of us, 5 of us, people are laughing. Uh-oh, something's up. So anyway, you guys, we made it through without cracking up. Okay, you guys. Anyway, we all saw the Ghostbuster movie that's on stage except for one of us, and which was Katie Lynn, and but we're gonna throw it over to Mary Moore, who's gonna give us a little. Yeah, there she is. She's making us crack up. Hi, Mary.
I was laughing because you said something about doing it last week, and I said, because I didn't show up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, she didn't. That was just a strange story, but Mary's not like that to just not show up. Something happened. Thank goodness she's still here.
It was a hot day, and I fell asleep. It was a long, hot day.
I wasn't going to tell it, but go ahead. So anyway, Mary is taking the lead on this, and she's going to start her review of the Ghostbuster movie, and then we're all going to chime in with a few comments. Before you start, Mary, though, did anything happen over there paranormally? Nothing?
Not a thing.
No mystery?
Nothing.
No mystery noises, smells, or anything?
Let's hope not.
I was just messing with you because she said she doesn't smell
God.
psychically, so I was just wondering if you all picked up anything.
No smells.
Thank God, because it smells like rotting meat.
You smell rotting meat?
No, it smells like rotting meat when you smell a spirit. It's nasty.
Okay. I bet. Yeah, so next time I smell that, I'll know. Ghost, get out of here, right?
Or if you smell sulfur, you're smelling a demonic entity.
Oh, gosh,
Sulfur,
yes.
huh?
Sulfur. So, Mary, tell us about that movie we all went to see.
Well, the good part about it was the seats. They reclined.
That sounds like a good.
Well,
Sorry,
the
that's
movie
a
was
review.
really good. I enjoyed the movie.
The seats were good. We're messing with her.
I'm sorry, that was the best part of it. Everything else was good too. It was interesting to see that they were all women, but it didn't. I saw the original, and it didn't bother me to have a sequel with women in it. It was still entertaining. The women in it are really, really funny. A lot of Saturday Night Live people, and original Ghostbuster.
Cameos?
Yeah, cameos. So I would suggest to see it. It's really good. Sorry.
So overall, how would you rate it?
It's very funny. I would
guess
rate
they
it
always
like
rate 5 stars, right? And like 1 to 5
probably
stars.
4.
Okay. And So, what would you say was your best, besides the seats, which we all are going to talk about the seats. We love this theater. Maybe we'll talk about it. But the theater is great. Maybe they'll give us some free tickets next time.
Yeah.
But what do you think was the best thing in the movie and your worst, like your biggest criticism of the movie?
I like the woman who, the black woman who what's her name? Jones.
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones. She's
Played
very
Patty.
funny. She's
Patty's
very funny.
Yes.
There were just a lot of, like, Melissa McCarthy. She's really funny all the time. She's, you know, all the time funny. I'm not sure about what I didn't like about it.
Well, that's good.
I mean,
You
it
can't
was.
think of anything.
I enjoyed the whole thing,
Yeah.
including the guy that they hired for
Oh yes.
the receptionist.
Nice. So, maybe Jim, you want to throw in a few comments? Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. Great. We'll see if we all copy you or not.
Yeah.
Jim will copy you, right? Did you like?
Yeah, I liked the movie. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
Scale of this 5-star rating, 1 to 5.
3.5,
Okay.
somewhere. One of the things I did like, I enjoyed all the cameos they put in there from the original movies. That was kind of cool. Not a whole lot I didn't like either. A couple of places it was pretty predictable, but you know I think that's to be expected. So overall, it was good though.
Okay.
The action was good.
Yeah.
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 Definitely. Well, thank you. I'm going to throw it over to Kat now. I'd like to, Kat and Katie, and then I'll give you my final rating as well. Thank you. Thank you, both of you.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a 4 for me. I liked the blonde woman.
4 stars?
Yeah, 4
You like the
stars.
blonde woman?
Yeah.
Did she remind you of anyone?
Yeah.
Over here? Me, crazy girl? Okay.
She was very outgoing and very mechanical of making weapons to get those ghosts. So it was kind of exciting, funny. I enjoyed it.
Great. Yeah. How about, do you have any criticisms of the movie? Anything you didn't like?
Well, that guy didn't act so intelligent.
Oh, the receptionist?
Yeah.
But wasn't he cute, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was cute. Uh-huh.
Gorgeous.
He was from, he was from a movie?
Thor.
He was Thor, right?
He played
He was
Thor.
Thor, which
Oh.
of course Jim liked that because he's into the Viking stuff, so. He was like, that's Thor!
never saw
So he was happy to go to the movie once he realized Thor was in it. So you didn't have, no negatives really? You didn't like how he was stupid? It was role reversal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A role reversal, because it's always a ditzy blonde usually, you know, that's stupid. So it was nice to have a ditzy blonde, but it was a guy,
Yeah.
you know. So you said 4 stars for you, doing pretty good. I'm gonna come back to you, Katie, because Katie has a totally different opinion, and we might get in a heated discussion there. So. But that's okay, Katie. Everybody has a right to their opinion. I'll tell you quickly my opinion. I really hadn't thought about, because I guess I'd give it 4 stars also. I wouldn't give it 5 stars because there's room for improvement. But overall, I thought it was entertaining. I went in there. I didn't go in there. I was excited to go because 4 women were playing the leads. Yes, I was excited about that. But I didn't go in comparing it to the first or second movie. I just went in there with an open mind. There were a lot of parallels, and I think it was really funny. One of my favorite parts was when the guy, I don't know who he is, from Saturday Night Live, I think, was it Saturday Night Live?
A mad
screamed.
The guy that screamed like a girl. That was, hopefully you all have seen the
Was it
movie
Norm
already.
Macdonald?
It was so funny because earlier in the movie he
Magazine.
says,
Yes.
"Oh, I'm famous for my screaming," and then at the most perfect moment, he let out this girl scream. It was so hilarious. Another thing, I really did like the blonde, like Kat said. I also liked Patty, who was Leslie Jones. Oh my God, the two of them were awesome. I thought the effects were great. That's the other thing people were complaining about, was they were worried about how this movie would be good compared to the previous one. Well, we've had like, what, 20 years or so to improve on the effects? You can't even compare the effects. We've moved so far ahead. So I also love the cameos of all, the Sigourney Weaver, Dan Aykroyd, who else? Oh, Bill Murray, and Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts.
Oh, Annie Potts was in it too, so it was pretty cool. That I like. Now, I know I'm gonna get the one thing I didn't like, and I know people are gonna hate it, but Melissa McCarthy's voice gets on my nerves. She was like, everybody come over here. It was kind of like that motherly kind of, just irritating, and that really got me. I couldn't stand it. So I know people probably, if they could throw tomatoes at me right now, they would. And the other thing, the biggest thing for me was watching the movie. I wanted more music, and I know I bought the CD and I haven't listened to it yet. The new CD that's out. I wanted to hear. I was waiting on the Ghostbusters song to come on, and just the whole crowd just go crazy and excited. And we just got little tastes of music, and it was very muted. And I would have loved a lot more music in it that was more prominent. So, like I said, I give it a 4. So we're going to 3.5, 4. 4?
4.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good rating. And I think Rotten Tomatoes, it was way up there on Rotten Tomatoes as being a pretty good movie. So I would suggest, I think we all would suggest to go see it. Again, the theater. If you live in our area, go to Cinemark. They're all reclining seats, comfortable, just, you have a place for your drink, and it's just wonderful. Once you go to that theater, you will never go to another theater if you don't have to. So now, with that said, we're going to be, she's going to be the devil's advocate, and that's our guest, which would be nice. But Katie says she's not going to go see the movie. So Katie, go ahead. We'll be nice.
The reason I'm not going to go see the movie is because I'm a fan of the original movies, and that's my opinion. That's it.
That's it? You're a fan of the originals, and you're just going to not go see it. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to come out with a sequel. The way they ended it, where they bought the firehouse that they wanted.
Yeah.
It was $21,000 a month for the rent for that place, and they couldn't afford it, so they were over a Chinese food.
Right. Yeah.
So in the end, they got a little bit of fame, and I guess the government or somebody, they got some kind of grant, and they were going to get this firehouse, which was like the firehouse in the first one. One other criticism I had about the movie was that it wasn't linked to the first two in any way. I mean, yes, you had cameos, but why all of a sudden 4 women coming and doing this? I thought maybe one of the women could have been one of the guys' kids. Somehow link it that way. But it wasn't linked in any kind of way.
That kind of made it separate from the first one.
Yeah.
Totally separate.
They were trying to do that. They were trying not to put it in the same franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Because there are a lot of us hardcore fans that like the original ones.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them. And a lot of people boycotted the movie. They're not going to see it like you. They're not going to, even... Okay, if it ever shows up on Netflix or something,
then yeah, you can
you might watch it, but you're not going to go pay the money to go out and watch it. Okay, well, we've been talking for an hour, and thank you for coming. And we've got like a minute, and I'm going to make a couple announcements for next week. But thank you for coming all the way from New Jersey. And we've heard a lot of interesting stuff. And definitely, why don't you show the book again? And the book, My Reincarnation Story as Marilyn Monroe by Kate Gamage. You can get that online at Amazon.com.
And Barnes & Noble.
And online, Barnes & Noble as well? Yes. So if you'd like to get a copy of that.
And you can get it all over the world, too. There are other stores that do sell it.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you, Katie, for coming. And come back and visit us sometime.
Yeah, and tell us more story about this soldier.
So, anyway, so next week, y'all, we've run out of time. We actually are an hour, but we started 20 minutes late. So this is an hour show. So next week, on August 6th, we have Steve and Pam Barry. And most people know who they are. They just got married back, Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, they just got married. They have a store that they just opened about 6 months ago or so. It's called Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. It's on Baltimore Pike in Gettysburg. Also, Steve has been on the show Paranormal After Party. I think they're in their 7th season. And Pam's been on the show as well as behind the scenes. So they will be here next week. So with that being said, this has been the Evermore Paranormal Show. Peace out.